All right, so buckle up, everyone, because this week in crypto was a wild one. We're talking like a $250 billion surge in the total crypto market cap, kind of wild.
And it's not just about the numbers, though they are impressive. This week was really a story of contrasts and unexpected turns.
You know, I love a good plot twist.
Yeah?
So let's break it down, starting with, the OG Bitcoin. It smashed through that $68,000 ceiling. Haven't seen that since July.
Right. An 11% jump is nothing to sneeze at, but it's more than just the percentage gain. We're talking about breaking through major resistance levels, the kind that signal a potential change in the entire market's direction.
Okay, so for those of us who don't spend all day, every day staring at charts, what does that actually mean? Break it down for us.
Think of it like this. Imagine a wall in the market. Every time Bitcoin gets close, it seems to hit that wall and fall back down. Right, that's a resistance level. Breaking through it like this, it often means that we might see some really big moves. And now, everyone's watching that $69,000 mark, a new all-time high. It could be within reach.
And it's not just Bitcoin winning. It's straight up dominating the game right now. Did you see that its market dominance hit 59%?
Yeah, it's huge. Almost like Bitcoin is saying, move over, everyone, I'm back in charge.
So, with Bitcoin acting like it owns the place, what's happening with the rest of the market? Did any other coins manage to make some moves?
It was a mixed bag, to be honest. Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, it saw a decent gain, up 8.6%, but
But it's lagging behind, kind of like coming in second place in a race where the winner just left everyone in the dust.
exactly. Then you've got Binance Coin making a splash with a massive 35.4% jump. Shows there's still room for others to really shake things up, even with Bitcoin throwing its weight around.
Okay, so some winners and losers. What about Solana and XRP? Any big news there?
Solana, yeah, I saw some decent growth, up 7.4%, but XRP, well, it decided to just chill this week, stayed pretty flat.
And then there's Dogecoin. Talk about a surprise, a 25% surge out of nowhere, rocketing right back into the top 10.
You gotta love it, right? It really shows that even with all the serious developments in crypto, people can't resist a good meme. Makes you wonder, is this just a blip on the radar, or are we heading for another full-blown meme coin season?
Now, it's not all about the charts this week. There's some major stuff happening behind the scenes, too. For example, those U.S. Bitcoin ETF inflows just passed $20 billion. That's a lot of zeros.
And a pretty big deal. I mean, just to put it in perspective, it took gold ETFs, a much more established asset, 5 years to reach that same level of investment. This is a sign. Big players are starting to take Bitcoin seriously, which is probably a big reason behind this latest surge.
Yeah, it seems like the mood is shifting. Our article even described the overall market sentiment as greedy, which I guess in the crypto world.
Can actually be a positive thing, at least for a little while. Basically, it means people are feeling confident, maybe even a little too confident, and they're eager to jump in on the action. There's even talk of a massive October on the horizon.
Okay, so we've got Bitcoin acting like the king of the hill, meme coins making a comeback, and everyone's feeling bullish. But, as we all know, what goes up?
Must eventually come down, right? It's like a law of physics, but for money. That's the thing about crypto, though. It keeps you on your toes.
Always an adventure. And speaking of big players, our Crypto Potato article mentioned something about increased whale activity happening alongside Bitcoin surge. What's that all about? Is that more than just a crypto buzzword?
Right. So in a crypto ocean, whales are the big fish. We're talking individuals or entities that hold like massive amounts of a particular cryptocurrency. I think hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars worth.
Wow, okay, big fish indeed.
Yeah, and when they make a move, it's like a giant wave in a small pond, Everyone feels it.
So are these whales basically saying, hey everyone, Bitcoin is the place to be right now?
It's one way to look at it. Increased whale activity often suggests a strong sense of confidence, right? They're putting their money where their mouth is. And that can be pretty influential, especially for other investors who might be looking for a sign. It's classic market psychology at play.
So we've got Bitcoin playing king of the hill, altcoins trying to keep up, and these crypto whales making waves. But what about the stuff happening outside the crypto charts? Anything interesting happening in the real world?
Actually, yeah, there have been some pretty interesting developments on the regulatory front, especially regarding Ethereum. You know how we were talking about those Bitcoin ETFs hitting that $20 billion milestone?
Yeah, showing that those institutional investors are really starting to see Bitcoin as a legit investment.
Right. Well, it looks like Ethereum might be next in line for the ETF treatment. Monochrome Asset Management is apparently getting ready to launch Australia's first ever spot Ethereum ETF.
So Ethereum ETFs, they're becoming a thing now. Does this mean regulators are finally starting to come around on crypto?
It's definitely a positive signal, a step in the right direction, you could say. Remember when the US finally approved Bitcoin ETFs last year? Big turning point. It signaled this shift towards greater acceptance of crypto. Like it was
Mhm.
finally getting a seat at the table in traditional finance. And now we're seeing other countries starting to follow suit, which could mean big things for broader crypto adoption.
That's huge. More legitimacy, more stability. It would change the game entirely.
Exactly. But, well, it wouldn't be the crypto world without a little bit of, let's call it unpredictability thrown in,
I
right?
know that tone.
Uh-huh.
What's the latest curveball?
Well, our crypto potato recap mentioned something pretty interesting, a significant increase in DeFi activity. But here's the kicker. In Ukraine and Russia.
Wait, seriously? In
Wow.
the middle of a conflict zone?
Sounds strange, right? But
Yep.
that's exactly what a recent report by Chainalysis found. Despite the ongoing conflict, or maybe even because of it, there's this surge in interest in decentralized finance happening right now in those regions.
That's wild. But why? What's the reason behind that? So DeFi is spiking in a conflict zone. That's not something you hear every day. What's the takeaway here?
I think it really highlights how crypto, especially DeFi, can operate outside of, the usual systems, traditional finance, banks, governments. They don't really factor into the equation.
Which, depending on where you are and what's going on around you, could be a good thing or a bad thing, I imagine.
Right, exactly. For people in places dealing with instability, conflict, where access to traditional banking might be limited or unreliable, it can be a lifeline. But of course, it also raises some concerns about how this kind of technology might be used. It's a double-edged sword like many things in the crypto world.
It's true. It's like we're watching a whole new financial system being built right in front of us. Exciting and, yeah, maybe a little bit unnerving at the same time.
Definitely keeps things interesting. And speaking of building the future, our crypto potato recap, they mentioned Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum's co-founder, and some of his plans for the network.
Oh, yeah, what's he got up his sleeve these days?
Well, he's really focused on something called the surge. Basically, it's about like supercharging Ethereum. Think faster transaction speeds, better efficiency, the ability to handle way more activity than it does right now. That's the goal, anyway.
So Ethereum's getting a serious upgrade. With Bitcoin on its power trip and Ethereum building itself a superhighway, where does that leave all the other altcoins out there? Can they even keep up?
That is the question, isn't it? It's getting more and more competitive. Some might even say it's becoming a survival of the fittest situation for some of these newer coins.
So what's the secret sauce? What does an altcoin need to survive in this environment?
It's all about strong fundamentals, innovative technology, first and foremost, a dedicated community that's huge. And of course, you need a real world use case, something that solves a problem, makes life easier, has value outside of just the hype. Those are the things that will separate the contenders from, let's just say, the not so contenders.
It's a proving ground for new ideas. We've covered some serious ground today. Bitcoin's on a tear, Dogecoin's back to its meme-tastic self, Ethereum's gearing up for a massive upgrade, and we've got DeFi popping up in some pretty unexpected corners of the world. It's a lot to digest.
It really is. We've said it before, but it's amazing to see just how much the crypto landscape can change, even in a week. It makes you wonder, what's going to happen next?
That's the question that keeps us coming back for more. I think that's all we have time for on this edition of The Deep Dive. Until next time.
Stay curious.